Okay, let's see if it is working. Working on a fake cutscene live. Working on a fake neptunia cutscene live. How do I save? Guess it saves automatically, maybe? Or does it? Piece of junk. YouTube is the worst with this junk. Okay, show me my live stream, you piece of garbage. Okay. Is it on YouTube Gaming? Maybe. Is it not live or something? No, it should be live. Mic test. Okay, looks like it's working great. Let me just put the link. Let me do this. Streaming myself making a fake VN style cutscene in fake hyperdimension neptunia VN style cutscene if anyone wants to watch. Says one viewer. I'm not gonna pay attention to the chat really. Can I actually even? Let me pull it up on my phone actually. Okay, just give me a minute. Okay, perfect. Now I can see the stream from my phone and respond to any comments or anything. So, if I see anyone's actually watching, then I'll focus on the stream. Otherwise, I'm gonna just do my thing and stream. Okay, so let's take a look so far. Quality's pretty low right now, simply because of the fact that there's some rendering glitches if I put it any higher. And I can't turn on GPU rendering because of reasons. So right now, since it's only the editing phase, I don't really care about it looking really good. It looks very good if I turn the quality up. So if you see right here, it looks good, but the FPS is literally less than 1 frame per second. So I'm going to put it at draft half because I don't need it to look very good. I could see what I'm doing really. Okay, so let's see. So far the cutscene has been going pretty good. This is the first third of it. I divided the cutscene into thirds, and by doing that, I should actually be able to finish this within a day or two at the current rate that I'm going. So how I'm doing is that there's a chase scene right over here, and I'm going to be putting a 3 second? Yeah, 3 second delay between each section. So a lot of it with video editing is just you have to figure out on your own, okay, what would be the best thing to do? Like how long do I want the delays to be, everything like that. So just a matter of, okay, you know something, over time you figure out this is the best approach. And you don't always know what it is, you end up figuring it out on your own over time, what you feel is the best thing to do. So that's just how it is with video editing in general. So what I need to do here is that this is going to be 1 second long. So you can tell how many seconds it is on the bottom over here. Can you guys see my mouse cursor? Let me just double check that you guys could see my mouse cursor. Yeah, my mouse cursor is visible. Good. So you can see the amount of like when I go over here and set how long, you can see how long it is over here. So 1 second, 60 FPS. That's how I have it set to. I'm gonna put a little loop region right there, delete that. Now I know that the next part of this is, because this is like looping, so I know that it's 24 frames in. I just happened to, oops, shoot, what did I do? Okay, oh, I accidentally deleted that. Okay, here, let's delete that one instead, and this needs to be 24 frames. With that, I'm going to insert a marker. This basically just lets me line everything up nicely. Now how it works and how I have this done is that it starts out, and all this is you just have to figure out on your own. It's just natural, like as you do more video editing you figure it out. So it starts out with the standard preset for how the cutscene maker works, that it transitions in. Then instead, normally it will go straight to right over here with the transition into the actual thing, but instead I want there to be an action before. So what I did is that I delayed that by however long this is. This is arbitrary depending on how long I need it to be. So then what I did is I had some of the characters running across the screen because it works with the actions that are being shown on screen, or well, the actions being talked about on screen, I mean. And there's different run animations. So Blonde is in the middle and she's always on screen for this part. And because of that, I put her in the bottom layer, and what I did is I switched it up because I want them to run in front and in back at different times. This leads to a limitation, as well as it's a limitation with video editors in general versus game engines that I learned. So with a game engine, let's say I wanted to make them in the back layer, I just set the value to depth equals, let's say, -20 -10. But because a video editor by its very nature is a lot different, it means that I had to split up the layers and move them layer by layer. So because of that, Blonde starts on this layer and then transitions up to this layer and then goes back to this layer, and then they also switch. Let me lower my music. So let me switch this song. Okay, anyways though, so what's happening here? So they start running across the screen, really simple. They start in one position, they move to the next position. I used some math to figure out, okay, I want them to be here, and based off of the proportions of the models and the aspect ratio and pixel measurements and junk like that, I figure out, okay, no, something, the end and beginning should be either 1650, -1650, or 1960, or -1960, depending on the loop it actually is. And then what happened from there is that I have their X width. I just reversed it so that way I could switch the position they're facing. So you can see over here they're facing one direction. Then I have it that I minus their X coordinates so that way they could flip. So I'll show you in a second what that means. So if we go to the actual, right over here, the track motion, right over here, just a regular thing, and you can see over here that I set the width to -1920 instead of regular 1920. The reason for that is simply because of the fact that doing so allows for the model to flip on its x-axis, and doing that will allow it to basically face the other direction. And by flipping in different ways, and also in this case what I did is that I moved them, not only did I move them to a separate layer behind the Blonde model over here, what I did is that I also shrunk the model to give the illusion that they're farther away. So there's lots of little tricks you pick up on as you do lots of video editing, and that's the key to the cutscene maker as a whole, because if you're making a regular cutscene, let's say with the game engine that CompileHard is using to make the Neptunia games, they're very limited in their capabilities. They have lots of things they could do. In Cyber Dimension, they could actually do a lot more, but the models are not dynamic like they are in previous games. That's because it's not dynamic, they decide to go ahead and just make them have more options for making them like camera movement and stuff like that. Now in this case, because it's a video editor and because you have to pay a lot more attention to detail because you're reconstructing it from scratch, you have full control over everything because you're also using, at least I'm personally also using a game engine to replicate certain aspects. It also gives me the best of both worlds. I have the ability to do stuff that CompileHard might not necessarily be able to do in their own games. So this thing right here where they're running across the screen, I'm not sure if they could do that in Engine. They probably can, but at the very least it wouldn't be super easy to get it to the way that I did it over here. At least that's how I imagine it. It could take them 2 seconds. I don't know how their engine works. I know they're using Pyre, but Pyre is not really a very good engine. So for all I know, it's super easy, but it could also be super difficult. I would imagine if it's easy though, they would have done it at some point though. So it starts with them running in the different layers. You pick up on how you should do it properly depending on your skill level at video editing. Then at one point she's like, I have enough, just stop it, whatever. They do the dialogue, then they start running around again. So I do a character switch over here, and something interesting about that is that when you're doing a character switch, let me see if I can find it here. Not here. Select in project media. No, let's just do replace. Here, open a new window. Now I could close this. Here. Let's find it. So, is this one it? Yeah, so this is the first model right over here. So you can see that right there. And then this is the second one. So let's compare the two. So this versus this. Now the difference is the position at which they're actually in the scene. And what I mean by that is that in this one right here, you can see the blonde is in the middle of the screen versus over here where she's at the left of the screen. The reason that's a problem is because of the fact that you're relying on the properties of the previously placed models and a lot of the crop settings so that way you don't grab some of the other characters. Now what that essentially means is that if it's not perfect when you're cropping it, and it won't be unless you decide to do a bunch of complicated math, then it will end up like this. I'll show you. So it's actually a very easy fix, but I thought I might as well show you guys. So let's cut this out, and you can see over here how what will happen is, so it starts from this model and then you go over one frame to the next model. And you can see it shifts over a little bit, and the reason for that is because it's a new model but with different positioning settings. So because of that, you have to figure out how to adjust for that. The best way to do it is just to go straight into the track motion and apply a hold track motion to permanently line it up with the previous positioning of the model. If you do it in the actual crop settings, it's so annoying and it'll take much longer than it's worth. It's not even worth it. Just do it like this. It's much more simple to do it like this. So if you notice over here, there's also little gaps in between different areas of the project. So right over here between the areas over here, I don't have anything going on. It's because if you look over here, the only thing that's happening is that blonde's on screen with the background and whatever. And because Ram and Ram are not on screen in this part of the scene, there's no point in having them over here because they're off screen. Like their position is literally off screen. So why have it in the scene if they're not even on screen and they're not doing anything? Because all that does, especially with a video file, is that it drags down the system resources and it increases the total render time that it will take to render the video. So because of that, when over here, when they're running across the screen, so you can see that they run across the screen, then later they're off screen for a few seconds. Why have it that they're off screen but the video file is still there when you could just take out the video file and then have them reappear later on? It ends up saving you on some of the rendering time, allows the performance to be better overall, and then on top of that, it's just how you really should be editing videos in general. So lots of these are just little things you pick up on as you edit. Now another thing you should keep in mind when making this junk is over here, so the name slot. Ideally I would make it so that way you could auto generate a name slot depending on what you type into a certain slot in the GameMaker program that I made. However, that would require an entire new set of systems I'd have to code in. It would be so difficult, it's not worth it. So because of that, I simply have the Photoshop template that takes 10 seconds anyways. It's not hard with the Photoshop. It's very easy, in fact, with the Photoshop template. It's just kind of annoying, to be honest. It would be more annoying to code it from scratch is my point, and would take very long to do so for what is essentially very little work. And once you do it the first time with each character, you don't need to do it again. If I do it for, let's say, Neptune, I don't need to do it again because I already have the file. So my point being with that is that when you have to switch it, let's say you're working with a new character that you don't have the name slot yet, you just have to go into the Photoshop, use the template. If you know how to use Photoshop, it's pretty simple to figure out. I might have done a tutorial on that one. I'm not sure if I did that yet, but should be pretty simple to figure out though. Anyways, though, once a different character is talking, how the games handle it is that the character's name slot switches once the character begins talking. So right over here, Ram is not talking yet, but that's because none of the text actually appeared yet. The previous text already cleared. So what I do is I have it that one frame before the text starts scrolling, I put the name slot. One frame is not really visible to the viewer, but it's a good indication for you as the video editor. Okay, you know something, this is the best place to ideally put it. At 30 frames per second, they won't notice a single frame that the actual name slot appears before a single line of text appears, but it just makes things more organized. Especially at 60 FPS, they won't notice that. Now if you go over here, so what happens is that the dialogue goes on, and it goes off screen for around half a second or so, because that's how I programmed it to be in the cutscene maker, or at least that's the settings I applied to it. So what I did is that because I have it that it has the auto capture, it makes things a lot easier to figure everything out. And then I check for one frame before the next line starts, and I figure out, okay, who's talking? Ram is talking in this case. So I cut that and I put the other dialogue box for Ram in this case, and then you just keep on switching it out depending on the character. Very, very easy to figure out this whole template as a whole. So let's continue on in that case with that knowledge in mind. Also, let me switch the song. Okay, so in that case, Juan is talking. Also, by the way, the background is it's a placeholder background. A lot of this stuff is placeholder stuff, but it really doesn't matter because it takes literally a half a second in order to switch out. Just a matter of switching one asset. Okay, that one should be Rum over there. And this next one is RAM, so let's do that. I'll just extend it so that way it doesn't really matter. I'll do the rest later. Now I need to copy over the settings basically, so I could take the lazy way, just copy it from here, or I could do it legit, make sure I don't make any mistakes. What should do? I'll just go the lazy. Wait, I didn't finish this one actually. Okay. Okay, so that one should be ramen. The first two are ramen ram. The third one's blonde. So because of that, it should be pretty easy not to mess up. Okay, this third one is by the 17 flag, and then the 15 flag is the end point. Oop. Here we go. Now what happens is right over here, this is blonde, so I have to flip the x-axis width for everyone. And I also have to, in blonde's case, I have to flip the x position. No, so I have to, for the endpoint, I need to flip the x position. There we go. So for Ram and Ram, it's a bit more tricky because I want one of them to be in front of the other. So it starts out that I flip their width. Now, what I do is the same thing on the other end. Okay, now from here, here's how it works. So, in this case, right over here, whoever is on this one, it really doesn't matter who, but it's 1960. That means it's going to be a negative 1650, and that means the other one is negative 1960. So if you are confused on what's going on, basically I figured out the math of how I want them to go across the screen a while back when I was figuring all this out. It took only 5 minutes. It's not really that hard. It's really just a matter of figuring out, okay, here's the width of the character model, and keep in mind that calculates it from the center. So let's say it's a 960 by 1080 character model. That would mean that the width would be 480. Yeah, 480. So you would need to do 480 plus, off the top of my head, I don't remember the specifics, but it's not very hard to figure out if you have enough experience. So I figured out, okay, here's the positioning I need them to go to based off certain factors, and that's just how it is. So if you look over here, it should work no problem. And perfect. That's literally exactly what I wanted to happen. So the next thing is another 3-second delay. Okay, so that much, and then there is so because that's 23, I'll just go to the 23. It really doesn't matter. Let's insert a loop region. I think I could go the lazy way with this. Let's just try copying and pasting it. It should work. It's because I'm looping it. It shouldn't have any issues. If it is, I'll just do it from scratch. Okay, let's try. Wait, I forgot something actually. So what I need to do is cut this. Wait, no. I have to split this, and this. Then I cut it. Then I cut this one over here. Split it again. It's basically just like little bursts, as you can see, like little bursts of action. Okay, so it needs to continue on a little bit more. Just take a look at how it looks. Yep, looking pretty good. Okay, how far is that? That's 8 seconds. The timing for this is going to be kind of annoying, actually. Shoot. And that is that right there. And I could take the lazy way again. That should be no problem. Okay, so now because there's a pause in the action, I need to figure out how to time that. So I'll deal with the background transition after. The question is how to go about this. Okay, how will I go about this? So first I'll make a new layer. What is this layer right here? Looks like a pretty useless layer. I'll delete it. So now I need the nep station desk. I need to find it in the assets. Where do I have them? Cutscene Maker Archive. Yeah, here. Neptunia assets. Rebirth 3. No. Nep station images. No. I don't think it's here. I might have to. Yeah, I'm gonna have to grab it from the game itself. Okay, that's annoying. But it is what it is. Which one is it? Where is it? Hyper Devotion, Cyber Dimension, Rebirth 2, Rebirth 3. Where is? No, is it not downloaded? Yeah, I have it right here. Browse local files. Oh, it's on a different drive. Okay. Data. Okay, I'm gonna have to mod it. Modding's annoying, but it is what it is. Sorry for any background noise. Okay, where is the modding program? Year modding. Let's use Mystery Dash's thing. Where would it be? It's either in one of the games or system, probably. Did it freeze? Why is it freezing? Okay, let's grab one at a time then. Why is it not letting me drag in 2? Whatever, I'll check those. Event. No, it's not done yet. Okay. Yeah, why is it not letting me drag it in? Let's do it here. I'll copy it over, maybe. So annoying. There. Now let's put in the multi-extractor. There we go. Yeah, they're all doing their thing. Probably gonna take a few minutes. When it's done, it should say done. Yep, it says done there. I don't think it's there. I think it's in game 0. MA, I think, is character models. Either MA or MP is character models. That means it's probably not game 002. Oh wait, Nep Station right here. Bingo. Desk. I found it. For once, something I'm looking for is actually labeled. They never label this junk. Here. Oh. Here. multi-extractor. Perfect. Let's actually do all these. Why not? Let's see what's in them. Okay, just need the. Let me check here. What's this stuff? Extraction done. Oh, this is just the images. Yeah, nothing too interesting. Maybe for future episodes I could actually use some of that junk. Might as well let it continue rendering. Here, let me just grab the desk asset though. There we go. Okay, so now I have to put the desk in there. Let's put this as a solo. Let me put it at best quality, just that way I have it lined up correctly. Yep, there. Here's what I want to do. Now, how am I going to go about this? Two, three. Oh wow, perfect. It lines up pretty nicely actually. Yeah, that lines up great actually. So a minute and a half. Not a minute, a second and a half. With a second and a half, I have them run into it. Yeah, that should be great actually. And perfect, they're in the position I wanted them to be. It's great. I wanted them to go to the right, not the left. I was scared I would have to do it the other way, and I'd have to reverse a bunch of stuff. Okay, if that is the case, and sorry for any background noise, then I can do this pretty easily, actually. So let me put the default to begin with, and then after I get the default, 1 second. Okay, my mic is back up and I had to reload the YouTube comments. Okay, so I'm seeing Conservative Critic commented, I'm using this for a game similar to this. Basically, you're trying to make Disgaea cutscenes. So, if you're trying to make cutscenes of a different game other than Neptunia, let me know. I will, and I can easily go into GameMaker. I could track down the font for you if you track down the font easier, but I can track down the font for you. I could do whatever you need me to do, and I could edit the cutscene maker, make a specialized version so that way you can make whatever type of cutscene you need more easily. So if you are trying to make Disgaea cutscenes, just let me know, send me a few clips of how the thing should actually look, and I could easily edit over the existing cutscene maker program to better work with however you need it to be. In addition to that, I could also help you track down assets and various stuff like that. So if you want, either just ideally just post another comment saying anything you need, anything like that, or email me or go on my Discord or something like that, because I can help you with that. The entire point of the cutscene maker is to help with general stuff like that. So yeah, let's go back to this. Vegas is so annoying. What's my favorite character from Foster's Home for Imaginary Friends? I don't really have one because I haven't watched that show since I was a kid. Okay, let me put my music back on. Wait, no, not that version of this song here. Okay, let's see. So let's move this over. What will happen is I will have it that the screen transitions over. Let's go with the standard green background. Here we go. Let's add in another keyframe. Move this. I want to effectively make this into a background. let's see how that looks. What I could do is I could physically move the backgrounds. That would be annoying though, but that's probably what I'm gonna end up having to do. So I'll do that in post later on. Let's double check to make sure everything is good. And no, okay, so I need to move the desk down a bit. Okay, let's switch that to a hold. Okay, now let's switch it back to draft quality. Now they start moving. Let me switch ROM and RAMs. Yeah, let me switch them. So now they're backwards. I just have to flip them. Okay, here we go. Have I heard of South Park? Yes, I have heard of South Park. I don't really watch it though. What the? That is weird. Why are they? I could have sworn I flipped it. Okay, let's see. Okay, so let's just do RAM real quick. Let's just make sure it's correct. Perfect. And then let's just double check with this. Piece of junk. Perfect. Now what will happen is what I'll do is I'll make the desk a little bit bigger. Yeah, let me just move it over a bunch. Okay, then what happens is okay, so I'd say that's good. Here. Delete. Why is it deleting her though? Let's add in a keyframe and then delete it maybe? There. Is there a keyframe in front then? No, weird. Okay, let's watch. Did you hear Super Mario Odyssey in the background? Yes, you did. My brother's playing it. Now what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna switch the model right by that keyframe. So luckily I already have the right model, so I don't have to go through the game to find the right one. Just have to find which one it is in here. Is it this one? No. That might be it. Yeah, it's this one. Okay. This one right here, I think. Yep. So what I need to do is, first let's mute the background so that way it's not confusing. Let's copy and paste the event attributes. Now because the model is in the same position, it should make it that I don't really have to adjust anything. Have I tried out Super Mario Odyssey? Yes, and I'm not really a fan. So, running around, then she stops, they continue on, her face switches. What's gonna happen is that right over there, 1, 2, 3, when Rom is a little bit past her, let's just see how that looks. I'm gonna lower the quality a bit. She needs to fall a bit more. Okay, let's take a look at that. Put that as a hold, and let's put a linear. No, it's this one. Let's take a look at that. Okay, let's lower the quality. No, so she needs to stay on the ground a lot longer. Yeah, that's 9 frames. Let's have it. Let's do it half a second. No, actually, let's put it right there. That would be perfect timing, actually. Let's see that. Okay, I'm gonna have to adjust the timings a bit manually. let's add a flag over here. That's where I want to start. No, this is the dialogue. I'm actually going to slow down that text a bit. Let's slow down the text. Reason for that is so that way it's for dramatic effect. That's a bit too long. Let's try it like this. Our fall is a bit too slow. I need her to fall a bit faster. Okay, let's move this over a fair bit. Oops. Let's add in a transition, maybe. Oops. Okay, let's add this back. And let's take a look at that. I think that should look good. Maybe I'll add in a transition effect over there too. And let's see this. Okay, how long is that? That's 226. Needs to be 3 seconds. And let's look at that. Perfect. This should be half a second. Bingo. Now, while she is crying, let's make them come back. And just make sure, okay. Here, let's put it as a hold. Put in a marker. And for character 2, so let's lock the Y position, flip the axis. Doesn't really matter where I put her. This is gonna be a linear. Okay, yeah, that needs to be a hold. Then character 3 is blonde, and she's gonna go here. Okay. I need to switch the model and get the positioning, so let's split them. I want to put blonde on top. Perfect. Okay. Now I need to flip the model. So in this case, let's switch it from that to, let's see what I have. Maybe that. Okay, I think I know what I'm gonna go with. No, so that first one was good. Is it here? Yeah, here. Let's move this actually instead. And let's paste the event attributes. I need to adjust the crop settings. Okay, let's have it that they appear a bit earlier on. Let's have it that they appear here. Okay, let's see. Let's have it 45. Okay, here. And let's look at that. What the? Oh, pawn is flipping for some reason. Yeah, let's have them go faster. Okay, I'm gonna have to switch Ram's model. Let's make him a little bit faster. $25 should be perfect. Let's switch out Ram's model with this one. Paste event attribute. Perfect. Actually, what I'll do is I'll switch it then. That would be a better time to switch it. Oops. Perfect. Okay, this is going good. Okay, let's switch out Blonde's model here. No, I'll do it here because that one is a bit too much for the situation, so it would make more sense with this. That's a pretty big shift. Still a bit more. Perfect. Okay, here we go. This is shaping up pretty nicely, actually. No, actually, it will make more sense over there.
Billy, there's a whole basket of clothes up here.
I don't have time to do it.
Let's watch it again. What the? Oh, yeah, because I forgot to move the keyframe. Here. This is going really well. What was that? Okay. Okay, here we go. Okay, let's see what needs to be done now. Okay, right around here. Remember, right now is character 3. Since it's such a short distance, I'll have it at a fifth of a second. Okay, right there. Right there. No, let's have it at... Let's have it there. I think that was still a bit too fast. Yeah, still a bit too fast. Let's just have it as a full second. that's too slow. Let's put it at 50 maybe. No, let's put it back at 40. Yeah, that's fine. Okay, I think I have to end the stream now. I'll see you guys later.